All right. Hey there. Hey there. All right.
Hello, we don't get the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1
We
with
don't
it.
get the 5 4. We don't get the countdown. And we don't get the music either.
Here we go. Here we go. A little live music.
Hey, sunshine and coconut.
Sunshine and
Good
coconuts.
of you too.
I still have to get used to the chair dancing without the twirling around in it, because now I got a different setup here.
Now you got a different setup. You can't swirl and get all tied up.
Not in the same way. That is true.
All right, heartbeats, heartbeats. Let me turn up my volume a little bit so that you can hear me, making sure that we are coming through clear, live, and alive. Well, let's turn that up. There we go, 100%. How are we, folks? Heart surfers, we are so glad to be with you today. This podcast, we address owning our own emotional drama and identifying what we bring to our relationships. We believe healing starts with ourselves first. So we bring to you a unique way of uncovering limiting beliefs about relationships by examining common uses of cliches. My name is Sharon the Heart Lady, relationship specialist, and this is your co-host, Dan, the Healing Man. And we're so excited to share our views. So what's the cliche of the week, Dan?
Well, Sharon, the cliche is falling in love, or as we have heard in many songs, I can't help falling in love with you.
Yeah, that reminds me of an old song. Who sings it? I can't help
Elvis.
being in love with you.
That's Elvis. Maggie and I
Oh,
had
yeah,
it
that's
as our,
Elvis.
yeah, Maggie and I had it as our wedding song.
Oh, really?
One of a few, yeah, one of the few, and that was one of them. I can't help falling in love with you.
All right. Very good. So, here we are again. It's always going to be talking about love and relationships. Heartbeats. How do you know if you're in love or if you're falling in love or is it just love? So Dan, I'm gonna ask you to start off first.
Well, I have really taken some time to reflect on this cliche of falling in love. And my conclusion is falling in love isn't love, or falling in love isn't really love. And I'll tell you why, for three reasons. One, falling in love in many ways is involuntary. Just like our attraction to other human beings, we don't consciously find ourselves attracted to them as much as it's on a deeper level, the pheromone level of really perspiration and sweat. We're attracted to someone else's sweat. And guess what? We don't have a whole lot of control over that.
This is a chemical reaction, right?
It's a chemical reaction. It's a physical thing, and that's why people say, well, the heart wants what it wants. Well, the sweat glands want what the sweat glands want. and who they're attracted to. And so this kind of physical attraction is involuntary. And it doesn't take any effort. It's effortless. And even though it may feel like it's work at times when you're nurturing and developing a new relationship, it more than often feels effortless. And then the other thing is that it isn't sustainable. Falling in love is really like fleeting, isn't it? That's why it's kind of like when you get the butterflies. Well, butterflies don't stay too long. If you've ever observed a butterfly on a flower, it doesn't hang out too long. It gets up and it flutters away.
Yeah.
And you know
I
what?
got a quick story there, Dad. So the other day I saw the most beautiful black butterfly, and it had these beautiful blue dots on the wings. And I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. And it was on my windshield, car shield, what is it called? Windshield on the car. And so I'm looking at it, I said, oh, this is strange. It's just staying here. So I'm like quietly taking out my phone to take a picture. And as soon as I put the camera, it was gone. So yes, it was a fleeting moment.
And falling in love is like, I think, one of the best highs that I can say I've ever experienced. I remember when I fell in love with Maggie. I can't tell you, some people say they know the exact day and moment and time. I don't. I can't recall that. I just remember when I accepted falling in love with her, that it was a beautiful thing. And it's something that you don't want to let go of, right?
Right.
It's kind of like, to use another insect, do you ever catch fireflies?
Yes.
And then you put them in a jar
Yeah.
and you want to keep them in there.
Yeah.
And yet, when you try to keep them in a jar, that's not going to work too well.
That's right. Yeah.
They're eventually going to die.
Yeah.
And so falling in love is a beautiful thing. And for those of us who want to hold it and capture it and control it and keep it, well, many of us have found out, similar to the fireflies, that's not going to be sustainable. It just won't continue in that, forever, happily ever after, the Disney films and all of that we've been given about this whole notion of falling in love with someone.
Well, my take on it, there is a difference between falling in love and loving someone. We love many things. We love family, friends, right? And we love situations. So loving is a different verb than falling in love. I think of falling in love is actually you are falling, right? It is about the chemical disturbance. It is about this. It is one of the greatest highs. You are totally excited. There's a sexual attraction. There's this need, this fulfillment of this need that you felt that there was this void. So this love is just like all encapsulating. It's just, I just love it. It's called falling in love because of what we said. The hormones are all getting excited. The dopamine and the oxytocin and the serotonin. They're all like, yeah, this is great, right? But it really only lasts scientifically. Only lasts anywhere from 18 to 24 months, if you're lucky for 24 months.
That seems like a long time.
Yeah, 18 months is a long time. And many people who fall, depending how hard they fall, how long it will last, until they realize that is this infatuation, is this lust, So I think that it's a struggle. And there are many different phases of love or being in love is as regard to relationships, right? So you'll have this first phase where everything is great. That's that first attraction. And then you go into the second phase where there is an identity struggle, is what I'll call it. It's like, oh, okay, so now I know about you and you're just learning about the person's idiosyncrasies. What attracted you at first? Oh, he's so cute. I love the way he brushes his hair. Oh, he's so cute. I love the way he snorkels when he eats. And then when you get in the second, why is he doing that? That's just rude. And then that makes me sick. It's that struggling also. It's like, oh, you used to like me when I did my hair like this. Oh, you used to like me when I went out and we hold hands. And now you don't take me out as much. So it's that struggle of finding who we are and finding who you are in the relationship, right? Which is really that second phase is I call it the make or break phase, because, a lot of people don't even go past the first love quotient to get to the second stage, right? And then, for me, the third stage is, it's more of a defining moment. It's more when we say, okay, the intensity has dwindled down. I get where we are as far as your idiosyncrasies. I could deal with that. then we had another stage where now we are more mature and we're settling into this love thing. And I have made the conscious choice that I love you and I'm going to be with you. And so many people don't mature to that level of I love you and I accept you for who you really are. And then there's that stage where you have that interdependence, where you be you, I be me, and I'm healed, so healing me before we, and now we're at the we part, and we're still holding our own identity. The only thing is sometimes in that last stage, we forget about the sparks. You forget about keeping it alive and happy and you get too used to, you know, he always gets up or she always gets up and does this and now she's dragging and all of that. But those last stages is how long you've been together and now you're starting to make more future plans. And this is where the sickness and, you know, and health and death and all those things come into part that, you know, no matter what, I'm here, I'm anchored in this position with you, you know. So that's my take, Heart Surfers, on the stages of love. Okay, so you go through these stages and it's a growth. And, you know, Dan and I have gone through these stages and have reached through the mature state. So you know that you've reached the mature stage when you become of mature age, and we won't mention that number, will we? And so we are here sharing a lot from our personal experience, a lot from our relationship coaching as specialists in this field who have seen many couples individually and together. And that's what we do. We help focus and help reset the relationship. But don't get it twisted. Not all relationships meant to stay together. Some relationships are about, let's just be good friends. And some relationships say, you know what? We can work this out so we can have a loving, caring, long-lasting relationship that we both desire and we both want to invest in. Because you have to invest in yourselves and invest in the relationship in order to get it. You know, we had an episode, Is Love Work? And how hard it is to do that. And then there's some people will say, well, if you love each other, it should be easy. You know what they say, if it becomes too easy, you gotta kind of watch it and you have to nurture it, right there?
That's absolutely right. You know, I likened it to a story, you know, because I like to tell stories. And so when two people are falling in love with each other, and let's say they go out on a date and they have dinner together, and one of the people, let's just say in this case, the man is the other person, and he starts eating off of the other person's plate. And in the initial stages of falling in love, the other person says, oh, that's cute. The person wants to be with me, wants to feel closer to me, wants to have intimacy.
Yeah.
And so all is well.
Yeah.
And then take your stages of love as you talk about them and, you know, how the relationship progresses and evolves. And then what I call honesty, right? And now, because when you're falling in love, guess what? You're only using your heart. You're not really using your head, because you know what? The head might interfere. The head might get in the way with logic and all this kind of stuff and muck it up. And so when you're falling in love, it's the heart, and the heart can do it all. We've learned so much about the heart in the last 25 years about how the heart does so many more things than just pump blood. And so the heart is enough at that stage. And when the relationship, though, begins to progress and evolve and mature, to use your word, now the head starts coming into play as well. And so now you go on another date as this relationship progresses, and this person, once again, this man is reaching over on the other person's plate, and the person says, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Well, I don't really appreciate you eating off of my plate. Why don't you get your own plate and eat off of yours, not mine?
yeah.
And the person sitting there like kind of in shock, right? Because what? I mean, this kind of behavior was acceptable, as you talked about earlier, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden it no longer is.
Right,
And
right.
the other person's now feeling, the person's feeling like, well, offended or rejected or
Yeah,
in many ways.
yeah,
And what's really going on is honesty. The person is now in a relationship where they trust, there's that word, I trust you enough that I can be honest with you and tell you, you know what? I don't really like you eating off of my plate.
mhm, yeah,
And now for the other person, they have a choice as well, not to take it personally,
yeah,
right? The person is simply saying, this is who I am. Accept me for who I am,
yeah.
even though I may have presented myself differently earlier in the relationship. And we know
I'm
why.
guilty. I'm guilty.
And we know why, because the person doesn't want to risk rejection, right? Doesn't want
Yeah,
to risk the chance that that other person might find that so bothersome
yeah.
that that's a deal breaker in the
Oh, yeah,
relationship.
yeah. But I'm laughing because what I say I'm guilty. I'm guilty of. At first, I didn't mind my husband would take, I make a dish and he'll take a couple of spoons and whatnot. Now I'm like, get your own. This is mine. You want me to share some for you? No, you cannot come in. This is exactly how much I want. And if you take some, that means I have to go back and pour some more or get some more. So this is what I want. And so he's looking at me like, really? Yes, really. And before he would never say that. So I really love that an analogy of, and it's true. First things, it's cute.
Mhm.
Even like when, we go out in a restaurant and they're feeding each other, putting each other in. I was like, everybody's looking. What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Well, the two dogs in the movie eating the spaghetti string, right? The
Oh
one
yeah,
spaghetti string and
yeah,
bringing them
yeah, yeah,
together.
yeah. So yeah. So, Hard Cyphers, we'd love to hear your thoughts about what you think the difference of falling in love and being in love, and growing in love. And I also like to have you think about the terminology of uh, feeling in love instead of falling in love. And how do you relate that in your relationship? Because sometimes you wonder, it was so great at the beginning, and now you don't know what happened. And so what we're trying to do is really explain to you that at the beginning, these are just the chemical reactions, the attraction that you have, and it also could have a lot to do with where you are in your life at this time. Are you when you found that person, were you grieving? Were you in need of having some comfort? Were you feeling alone? Um, is this a rebound? So there's a lot of things where that could be happening in your life, and it's like, this is it. I love. So then we also did an episode on Dan. Remember we did this episode on Love at First Sight?
Yes.
Yeah. So y'all got to check out some of our episodes. So we talk about that. And so we'd love to hear, comment and let us know what you think the difference is. Or is there a difference? There may not be a difference for you. Maybe you're saying, listen, I fell in love with my partner and I'm still in love and I still have the sparks. And here it is, 25 years later, I still have that spark. And it's just like the very first time that we met. Now, if that's true, y'all need to tell us what the secret is.
Yeah, I congratulate anyone who has that for me is like another situation, you talk about you can fall in love with inanimate objects too,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like a brand new car. A brand new car has that new car smell, right? And that's what many people like. They like that, whether it's healthy for us or not, we won't go there. And so after a while though, that new car smell, what? It begins to go away, right? Well, did you know, Sharon, the heart lady, you can buy these cans called New Car Smell, right?
Really?
So you can keep spraying it in your car to keep that new car smell.
Yeah.
And
Something new every day.
my point is here, some people they have to have that new car smell all the
Yeah.
time
Right,
because they're not in a state of readiness to make that shift to
right.
what you're talking about in those different stages of really loving someone consciously with the
Conscious.
head and the heart. So
Absolutely.
to me, love is bringing both the head and the heart into the relationship
Speaking my
without
language.
fear.
That's right. And you know, that used to be one of my taglines. Let's make a head and heart connection.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And so Heart Surfers, we're hoping that, you know, that you learn a little something about it. Someone asked me to repeat those stages again. And so, you know, it's really what I call an infatuation stage. This is when the chemicals are popping and you find this person, it could be a sexual attraction, it could be a physical attraction, but it is something that says, I'd like to get to know you more. And in that stage can last anywhere from 18 to 24 months. And you're really, it's really the getting to know you stage. And then there's a stage where there's like, okay, that's how you be you and let me be me. So it's the struggle for identity stage is what I call it. And then
Acceptance.
yeah, and right. And if you get past that,
Mhm.
which is that stage that many people like, okay, I know who you are now and you're not for me. And then there's the next stage now where things are just kind of stable, right? You're stabilized and you understand each other's differences. And you're like, you know what? You know, you say tomato and I say tomato. I can work with that, right? And
Mhm.
then we have this more mature, self-sufficient stage. And and we have this interdependence that I'm good by myself, I'm good with me, I'm good with who I am, and guess what? I'm good with you and who you are and all your idiosyncrasies. Let's build something together. Let's have this relationship really be very mature, and we're in it for the long haul. And so, you know, for those
Commitment.
who are in that stage, we congratulate you. Please share us some of those highlights or whys or hows you have passed those other stages. So I just wanted to repeat that for folks. And before we jump off here, you got any more tips and acronyms and stuff under that fancy shirt? Aloha, let's sway. I love it.
Well, to me, going back to what you said, you know, when a relationship is just forming, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to keep the sparks, right? The sparks are flying effortlessly.
Yeah,
As the relationship matures, it's important, yes, to put effort into the relationship. And we talked about this before, knowing the other person's love languages
yeah,
and being able to interact with that person based upon what their love language is.
yeah.
So what I tell people all the time is like Maggie and I, we go out on dates. And you know what I do now? I do not bring my cell phone. I started this now just about a month ago. I don't take my cell phone with me when I go anywhere out in public because
Wow.
I want to be fully right connected with
Beautiful.
whatever I'm involved with in my surroundings and whoever I'm involved with. And so
Yeah,
when I go out with Maggie, and I've invited her to do the same thing.
yeah,
Now, she's not at a state of readiness to let her phone go. Okay. So this talks about the deep relationship of maturity, right? And
yeah,
accepting the other person for
yeah.
who they are,
Right.
not who I want her to be.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I remember one time my husband and I were in a restaurant and I looked around and the amount of people or couples that were on their phone while they were eating and there was no conversation. And I said, look, just look at everyone. And I said, we don't want to be those people. So we definitely know that while we're eating, the phone is not around. I don't even keep the phone on the table. I just,
Mhm.
well, that's another story, germs and everything. I keep the phone in on my purse. I said, if it's an emergency, the emergency will still be there while we're eating. So when we finish, you know. And so yeah, I agree with that that thought. I like that thought that you don't even take it with you.
No, I don't.
Oh, if I'm in that state of readiness, but I'm ready to challenge myself for that.
Well, it's it's about resisting temptation. So if it isn't available, there's nothing there for me to use. And now I make a choice to give the focus and attention to whoever I'm with. And that includes my wife, Maggie.
So I challenge, I hear a challenge coming on, Dan. That's a challenge. And I'd like to know who can live up to that challenge. Go out to dinner with your loved one and purposely do not bring your phone. See how long that will last, how you feel without having that phone. If you really, you'll learn how really attached you are to that phone. I remember going out and I didn't have my phone and we were halfway down the highway. And I said, no, you have to turn back because I need my phone. Why? I didn't get any calls for the rest of the night. And I didn't make any calls. But it's that attachment that we have to these
dependency
phones. Oh my goodness. But I love that challenge. I'd love to know how many people will do that challenge. Come back and tell us that they have done that. So I like that challenge. So folks, let me give you all the quote. Oops. I'd like to give you the quote of the week. And I seems as though while I am recording this, I cannot get to the quote. Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice. Here we go. The quote is, when you're in love, you want the person to love you back with equal fierceness. When you love someone, you love relentlessly without expecting any equal measure of attachment. Whoa. How is that? So that's our quote. Those are our tips and learning stages of love. And we ask you, is it love or are you falling in love?
And both are beautiful.
Either way, no judgment. So thank you, folks. Stay tuned to another episode. We like to keep you on your toes. So please tune in and leave comments and let us know if you have a cliche that you'd like for us to explore. So I'm Sharon B. Heart Lady, and you can contact me via IG at the Heart Lady. That's THEE Heart Lady. And I'll come back and DM me through Facebook at Sharon B. Heart Lady Reed. And what about you, Dan?
Well, you can contact me through my name, Dan Mykins, MYKINS.com. And I'd be happy to hear what you have to say. And I welcome all your thoughts and input on all of these podcasts because we want this to be interactive and we hope to go live with this very soon.
We said we were going to go live the next time, but I didn't realize that there were so many little things that you got to figure out. And so, if there's someone who's out there who wants to give me tech support and figuring this out,
we welcome it.
We'll talk to you later. All right, y'all have an absolutely wonderful.
All right.
Tune in.
And so we that's what I had to remember is we got to shake it.
Shake it.
Sway.
We got to sway.
Bending waves across the universe. All right.
There go Dad and his swaying, and there goes me and my shaking.
Get into it. Everybody out there, do your own thing, your own sway, whatever that sway is.